Assalamualaikum, you're watching the Haider Rifaat show and I'm your host Haider Rifaat. Today I'm here with Ahad Raza Mir, who is all set to star in the upcoming film Parwaaz Hai Junoon. Thank you so much Ahad for joining me.
Thank you, Assalamualaikum.
Ahad, आप मुझे बताएं कि what is one fact about you that nobody else knows yet? और जो आप अपने fans के साथ share करना चाहें?
I think I don't know if people already know this or not, I'm quite shy. I'm a very shy person when it comes to just being shy in public, but I'm also very friendly. I think that's something people might not know. I don't know, once you meet me, you might be able to tell, but yeah, I'm shy.
So that's one thing that you, undisclosed fact.
Yeah.
Okay. So Ahad, what is your ultimate pet peeve? कौन सी ऐसी चीज़ है जो आपको बहुत annoy करती है, whether it's rude people or someone? What is something that irritates you?
I'm a very patient person, I think. So there's not too many things that really kind of get to me, but I think I always think okay, you should be polite and you should be kind towards everybody, no matter what. तो कभी-कभी मैं जब बदतमीजी देखता हूँ, तो I get a little annoyed. That's the only time I think I speak up. Along with that, I'm a very punctual person. तो अगर आप मुझे 9 बजे का टाइम देते तो मैं 8:45 पहुँच जाता हूँ. So I'm very punctual. So when people aren't, it's a little frustrating. But I'm a pretty patient guy. I don't really express too much.
तो punctuality के हवाले से कभी issue पेश आया आपको, like कि कभी कोई अगर दूसरा actor late हो गया तो you're on time but they're not on time, so it creates an imbalance?
I think everybody has their own way of working. मैं समझता हूँ कि time is one of the most valuable things we have. So I think जब मुझे कोई time देता है, I get there because I value the other person's time, I value my time, and I value the work that we're doing. So it doesn't even just have to be about work. Even if you're meeting up with friends, or even if it's your own time that you give to yourself, I think always punctuality is it's a key factor of life. So yeah.
So Ahad, you've established yourself within a matter of only a few years, but has foreign education played a crucial role in your life to break out in this industry?
देखिए, मैं समझता हूँ any form of education will always help you. चाहे अगर मैं instead of doing a drama degree, अगर मैं business degree करता, I think everything helps you. But specifically I think जो मैंने training बाहर की है, उससे मुझे अपने आप को एज एन आर्टिस्ट एक्सप्लोर करने का मौका बहुत मिला, जो आई थिंक शायद मे बी इन पाकिस्तान माइट बी अ बिट डिफिकल्ट टू डू, स्पेशली इफ यू डूइंग थिएटर. तो वहाँ जो अंडर प्रैक्टिकल university setting, the amount of shows I got to do, I got to direct, I got to write, I got to do all these things, it's helped me to kind of build kind of a base. So coming here, I think one of the things I have to keep in mind is I am coming to a different place, so things work a little differently. Sometimes you have to unlearn things. लेकिन जो मैंने base अपने लिए बनाया था, the practical experience that I had gotten, I think has helped me, regardless, has helped me, as a person, as a performer, as an actor, as a human being. So I think that formal education has kind of helped me to, I wouldn't say have a step ahead, but has allowed me to think practically. When I get a script, I'm like, okay, what does this require? And I think back to all the training I've had, and I go, okay, this is how I'll manage it. I think the management, you have to manage yourself as an artist. So I think that has really helped me. But along with that, just to kind of tie off of it, when I say I got to explore, I got to explore dance, I got to explore singing, I got to explore, and whether or not I failed at those things, I've tried them out. So I'm not scared to try anything. Like for example, I'll give you the example of taking risks. In university, you have to do a lot of improvisation. So improvisation, the first thing they teach you is failure is your best friend. So I think, to sum it up, failure is not something I'm scared of anymore, which is a good thing, because when you're on set sometimes, आपने अपने आप को instantly forgive करना चाहिए. When you're on set and you feel like सही अच्छा take नहीं हुआ है, you have to be able to tell yourself that's okay, let's move on, let's get ahead. So I think having that education has kind of forced me to keep going.
Okay, Ahad, has this industry, because do you struggle with perfectionism in this industry, or it's something that you let it go?
I think perfectionism is something आप avoid नहीं कर सकते. I think every artist, all artists, musicians, actors, the problem is we're always trying to strive for perfection, all of us. The issue with TV and film is that you get to sometimes see the result right away, so you're always trying to do better. So sometimes you have to allow yourself to kind of be okay with whatever it is. Always do your best, but I think if we keep striving for perfection, it'll just never happen. And sometimes perfection is in front of us, we just don't see it as artists. I think I've seen actors that I've worked with, जिन्होंने सीन किया है, सीन करने के बाद वो कहते हैं कि नहीं अच्छा नहीं हुआ, लेकिन मैं जब देखता हूँ I'm like wow, that was such a beautiful scene. So sometimes perfection sits inside us and not yet, like for someone else it might be perfect, but for the artist it's always kind of like this struggle of like और अच्छा हो सकता है, और अच्छा हो सकता है.
अच्छा आज जो आपने फॉरेन एजुकेशन की बात की, आपने बाहर से डिड यू डू योर बैचलर्स और एमएस इन परफॉर्मिंग आर्ट्स और वाज इट इन ड्रामा?
So I did my when I went to high school, मैं एक performing visual arts high school गया, तो वहाँ मेरी musical theatre की काफ़ी training हुई.
सही है.
फिर जब university का time आया तो obviously like a good Pakistani boy I decided अच्छा मैं business करता हूँ.
ठीक है.
And although business अच्छा जा रहा था, I've always loved acting. That's what I've always wanted to do. So I decided at one point, yeah, I need to make the change. So I decided to shift to my Bachelor of Fine Arts in drama. So I studied acting, direction, writing, kind of the whole thing, theatre history, which was like I'm just so happy I did that. So my formal education is in drama.
तो हैज़ थिएटर हेल्प्ड यू? क्योंकि ऑब्वियसली डिफरेंस होता है, क्योंकि थिएटर जो होता है इज ऑन स्टेज करंट, सो देयर इज नो रूम फॉर एरर. अगर एरर हो भी जाती है यू इम्प्रोवाइज. लेकिन जो स्क्रीन होती है इट्स मोर डिस्टिंक्ट व्हेन इट कम्स टू द स्टेज एज कम्पेयर टू द स्टेज. तो क्या आपको लगता है कि हैज़ दैट परफॉर्मिंग आर्ट्स इन टर्म्स ऑफ स्टेज हेल्प्ड यू translate your acting on screen?
I think 100%. I think obviously technical चीज़ें होती हैं.
बिल्कुल.
Because stage पर आप जब होते हैं तो depending on the size of your audience, you know, when I'm performing for 1200 people, तो expressions काफ़ी loud हो जाते हैं, you know, and you have to focus on your voice and projecting. And then you sometimes perform for like 50 people. That's smaller, that's more intimate. So I think that range that you get doing theatre, like, you know, whether you're doing Brechtian theatre, whether you're doing a very realistic play, whether you're doing, you do some crazy stuff in theatre. When you get onto screen, all of a sudden everything is so kind of focused, everything is so hyper realistic that you actually have to tone everything down. So I think it's easier to go all the way up. Like, I mean, it's harder to bring things back than it is to push them. So having been in theatre, pushing your limits and then coming down to screen and really just kind of internalizing everything has been very helpful, because when you have to be emotionally available, you know, one scene you're happy, the other scene you're, you know, it's kind of like that. I think a good way to put it is when you're doing plays, you have a certain time, you have 2 hours to do a play in consecutive order, right? So you kind of flow, you follow that transition. On screen it might not be the same. You have to actually spend time to bring yourself to the emotional state of that scene. ऐसा नहीं कि आपको full build up हुआ है सारे characters के साथ. No, you have to bring yourself there. So I think my training doing stage has helped me kind of be able to get to that place a little faster.
That's a good way to put it. अच्छा, आज आपके लिए कभी ऐसा कोई social label आपके पास है कि ये इन फादर का बेटा, इस फादर का बेटा, that's why he has had it much more easier than others. तो आप इसके साथ किस तरह challenge करते हैं?
You know, I think it's a great thing that people talk about this, क्योंकि एक तो I have many ways to defend it, but I hold Raza Mir's name with a lot of pride. मुझे अच्छा लगता है जब लोग कहते हैं कि you know आसिफ साहब का बेटा, मुझे अच्छा लगता है. लेकिन अपनी आइडेंटिटी बनाना शुरू में बहुत मुश्किल था, क्योंकि obviously people say एक्टर का बेटा है. But my defense to this is that I was in Canada. I did my formal education in Canada for 4 years. Nobody knows who my father is. फिर मैंने 2 साल professionally काम किया. I produced my own shows. I wrote my own shows. I was a regular actor in Canada, you know, doing all the plays, Shakespeare से लेकर, you know, West Side Story musicals, you know. Nobody knew who my father was. So what I want people to understand is I'm not just in this because baap kar raha hai to main kar raha hu. No, I love doing it. I've always loved doing it. That's why I'm here. Now coming to Pakistan, my father was part of A&B Productions. So he produced his own plays. He produced serials, he produced Manto, all these things, right? if I really wanted to, I always say this, if I wanted to cash in on my father, I think I would have told him, put me in a production. But my point was, I didn't want people to think, I'm just doing this, I'm a star kid, I've got a foot in the door. No, I wanted to avoid that. And my way of avoiding it was to separate myself from my father professionally. Momina Dure is always kind of, she's followed my career from the beginning. She has seen all the plays I was doing, she kept tabs on everything. So she's somebody who trusted me enough and took that risk to put me in Yaqeen Ka Safar, Sami, Angan, Parwaaz, I think that trust was there. But I think that having Raza Mir attached to my name obviously puts, gives me a foot in the door. It gives you that chance. It gives you that kind of, it does. It's an obvious thing because my father's part of it. It gave me a leg up. But that can only take me to a certain point. Because at one point, if
in the end, talent जो matter करता है, that's the actual thing जो कि अगर आप नहीं अच्छे acting में होते, then definitely आपको projects नहीं मिले. Definitely that's not the case.
Yeah.
So obviously,
and that was the hard part. I had to prove myself that and the hardest part was I had to prove it to Pakistan. I had to prove it to the producers, my family, and I had to prove it to myself. Okay, yeah, I can also do this, on my own. I can make an impact. I can tell a good story. I can give a good performance. And the fact that people have liked my performances so far is a blessing and an honor. But I think it also puts a lot of pressure on me right now because I need to keep working harder.
Definitely.
So,
Ahad, acting aside, what is your ultimate passion? What are you passionate about apart from performing arts?
The arts is a huge part of my life. It has been since the beginning. क्योंकि मुझे ऐसा लगता है कि मैं इस इंडस्ट्री में actually पैदा हुआ. And I've been to set with my father. I've watched some of my dada's films and stuff like that. So it's kind of this thing that I can't, no matter what, I can't avoid it. But something that I'm passionate about, although it does indirectly relate to the arts, I'm very focused on the youth.
Okay.
And how the youth, and when I say youth, I mean the artists, how we are going to take Pakistan forward. This isn't something that was, always in my mind. Once I moved to Pakistan, once I started working, that's when I realized, hey, there's such great things happening, and there's such great young actors and singers and musicians and directors, and I'm like, I just can't wait to be part of this kind of revolution. We're gonna take this industry somewhere else, and along with that, I'm very passionate about music. I learned how to play the guitar by myself when I was 13, 14, the drums and all those things. But I think my passion is always, how can we tell a good story and how can we take this industry forward? It's not even a passion, it's a goal now.
आपको लगता है आज के जो senior actors हैं, उन्होंने या producers हो गए या तो directors हो गए, उन्होंने एक platform create किया है youth के लिए in terms of performing arts of the dramas, जो लोग interested हैं वाकई in acting?
I'll be honest, I don't think we're doing, and I'll say we, not just the seniors, I say we, I don't think we're doing a good enough job to give our youth a medium through which they can have that opportunity. I don't think so because I haven't seen it. Okay. If I see it, obviously my opinion has changed, but I think we need to find more ways to explore, to find ways to attract people who want to do acting and performing and be in dramas and films, because I think we don't have that structure yet. Yeah. There's students at Napa right now who perform and who get the chances, but it's not everybody can go to Napa. Not everybody has that medium through which they can explore. So I think we need to focus on that, and I think along with that, we also need to focus on our seniors actually. I think that there's such a high focus on young people, on whether it's Hamza, me, or the young lot, as we want. Well, I guess I'm the young lot. Hamza is my senior, but yeah. I think that we have a lot of senior actors who we're not exploring them enough. I mean, they're at the age where we can do, we can explore different kinds of stories and we can create stories for them. And I personally think we're not doing that enough. And we should be. I think about India mein film aayi thi, 102 Not Out. What was it with Amitabh Bachchan and Rishi Kapoor?
Yeah, I forgot the name.
Something like that.
Yeah.
And I thought about how interesting that topic was. I haven't seen the film personally, but I feel we've got so many actors from like the PTV का जो ज़माना था, we can write things strictly for them. I mean, we don't have to just do the heroine falling in love. We can explore now. We are in the position to explore. So I think that's something that we should do.
Definitely. आपको आहद क्या लगता है कि एक्टिंग जो है, is it all a stroke of luck, या तो is it something that you really have to pursue, it's something that you really have to dedicate yourself to? क्या लगता है आपको?
I will say the performing arts in general, it's such a, it really depends. I don't think there's actually one answer for that question. I think that there's many. There's some people who work their whole lives, like 10 years, and finally they get a break. Doesn't mean they didn't work hard. Then there's some people who get a break right away. They go on a big high on their career and then they fizzle out. Then there's people who are there for the long run. So I think it actually depends on the individual. If I take myself for example, I think yes, when I got here, I was lucky. I was given such an amazing project. I was given a film, I'm very grateful for that. But with that luck ends there. The rest of it is the work you put in, the dedication you put in. However it is that you do your work, if you're a method actor or whatever it is, the work is up to you. Luck तो आपके ऊपर नहीं होता, वो तो आपकी किस्मत है. जो आप काम करते हैं, that's the real work, that's what puts you on the map, I think. And I think there's some people, obviously, I think unfortunately social media plays a big role in Pakistan, which I don't necessarily agree with, but if that's the way things are going right now, that's fine. I think we should put more focus on talent, on people who have that passion, that drive for performing and telling stories. So I think that I think I've answered it, but there's so many other ways to look at it. I know whether the film and TV industry can be a bit tough, just because there's so many things that go on. Your looks, your talent, your connections, all these things that come into play. So I think it is tough, and I think it ties into the idea that we should have a medium through which people can come and audition and give resumes and headshots, and because I think that's very important, because I went through that whole drill in Canada, and it's not easy, but at least it's there, at least that option is there.
Definitely. Let's talk about Parwaaz Hai Junoon.
Sure, yeah.
Which character do you play, and why should people watch the film? What's the message that you're trying to give with this film?
Okay, my message is very, I've said this time and time again, but mine's quite specific to me actually. First of all, I play this guy. He's a cadet. He's a very hot-headed, very, I will say, a bit arrogant. But my message, and I think I'll talk to the camera here, is that जो पाकिस्तानी यूथ है, और मैं सिर्फ उन पाकिस्तानियों की बात नहीं कर रहा हूँ जो यहाँ पाकिस्तान में मौजूद हैं, वो पाकिस्तानी जो कनाडा में, जो अमेरिका में, जो दुबई में है, जो यूके में है, आई थिंक ये फिल्म उनको देखना उनके लिए ज़रूरी इसलिए क्योंकि पाकिस्तान का जो इमेज है, जो बाहर के मुल्कों में न्यूज़ चैनल्स पर दिखाया जाता है, आई थिंक इट्स टाइम टू चेंज that misconception of Pakistan, and I hope that every film coming out this Eid does very well and shows the true image of Pakistan. But I think the reason Parwaaz is important is because Parwaaz is showing you that look at our Air Force, look at our people, look at our country, look how beautiful Pakistan is, look at how beautiful how beautiful our patriotism is. And I just hope that once the people abroad see this film, they can help other people who don't know enough about Pakistan, help change their perspective, show them what Pakistan is about, how beautiful our culture is, the film is about a female pilot. I don't think there's a film about a female pilot anywhere. मैंने ना कोई Hollywood ना कोई Bollywood film देखी है जहाँ female pilot है. So it also shows how progressive our thinking is, you know. आप कहीं बाहर किसी से पूछेंगे what's their opinion about Pakistan, you tell them कि Air Force के बारे में हमने film बनाई है about a woman, they're gonna say things like, oh, is she wearing a burqa? Like, we have bad misconceptions about Pakistan, and I think it's our duty as Canadian Pakistanis, American Pakistanis, Pakistanis living abroad to change that perspective. I say that because I think maybe I had some misconceptions when I first moved back. Although मैं Pakistan आता रहता था, I never lived in Pakistan properly. So after doing that, I think it's my responsibility to be part of नया Pakistan.
Definitely. और आहद बेस्ट बात परवाज़ है जुनून की मुझे ये लगती है कि amid so many rom-com comedies coming,
Yeah, exactly.
we need some diversity of films.
Yeah.
मैं देख रहा हूँ कि हमारी पाकिस्तान की इंडस्ट्री जो है, फिल्म इंडस्ट्री जो है स्पेसिफिकली, बोल थी, मूर है, there are so many other good quality films, not just quality films, great storytelling.
Yeah.
तो अब वो आहिस्ता आहिस्ता regress हो रही है. I'm not seeing those anymore. We're just focused on one particular genre only. So I think this is a great addition to the pile.
You're 100% right, and especially because we've seen those heavy films, those heavy, almost dark films, and then on one end we're getting a lot of romantic comedies, a lot of dancing and all that stuff. But I always say this. I always say, what is the face of Pakistani cinema at the moment? Honestly, I don't think we know. I don't think any of us know because we're still in that kind of mid phase. आप किसी से पूछेंगे what's Bollywood? You know what Bollywood is. Right? Bollywood's been around. They've established themselves, especially internationally. Bollywood is known through their films. India is known through Bollywood, is what I mean. That's what I appreciate about Parwaaz. It's giving you romance, it's giving you comedy, it's giving you adventure, it's giving you patriotism, it's giving you so much. Most importantly, it's giving you a story. So like you said, like I 100% agree with you. We need good stories, and I hope that people really enjoy Parwaaz for what it's presenting them.
Definitely. Very lastly, Ahad, I would like to ask you कि आपकी कौन सी एक ऐसी piece of advice है जो कि that has helped you grow throughout your career, throughout your life? कोई parents से advice हो, family, siblings से advice हो, what has helped you, what has shaped you?
I'll say I have two things. One piece of advice my father has always given me is to always be patient. Whatever that means, like patience can mean a lot of things.
Yeah.
To always be patient, always have patience, which is something I try to practice. Sometimes I fail at it, but I try. My personal piece of advice is to always take risks. I think if you're not going to take a risk in life, it's not really worth it. If there's something, for example, I'll say this, for a Pakistani to be living abroad and to pursue theatre, that's a risk in itself, because I know a lot of Pakistanis that I grew up with over there that wanted to explore arts, music, and they couldn't because maybe it was their parents, whatever the reason was. I took a risk by coming to Pakistan. And when I say risk because my friends were in Canada, my entire life was in Canada, my guitars, my books, all my stuff. And I decided that I need to take the risk. Why? I need to take that risk for me, because I need to at least feel that sense of I tried. So I think, and this doesn't have to relate to the arts or to films or anything, but to always take risks, because at least you took it. Whether it turns out good or bad, you tried. So I think always take a risk.
Thank you so much, Ahad, for joining me, and best of luck for Parwaaz.
Thank you so much.
I'll definitely be watching. Thank you so much for joining me. That's all for now. Stay tuned for more information and more weekly videos on the official YouTube channel and Facebook page. Until then, take care. Allah Hafiz.
Thank you.